Again, welcome into the DNVR Nuggets Pregame Show. I guess we don't. Yeah,
nobody wanted to show up for your grand return, I guess.
I show up, everybody takes off. I don't know what's going on, man. Oh, there it is. I hear a nice horn going on over there. Nice work, Kel. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Everybody's afraid of the bully when he shows up.
Bully's back in town. Nobody shows up.
As somebody pointed out, I had to go down to Florida to get a deal done.
Yeah, you had more pressing matters.
I had a lot. You're welcome, by the way, everybody. You're welcome. I don't get the thanks now. Back here, excited to be back, guys. Little mini vacation, ready for the second half of the season. We got a bunch of going on for the show tonight. Dev will be joining us any moment, we're told.
Allegedly,
he's pulling a bull here and showing up to practice late. We got a lot of stuff to get to. Tim Connelly spoke to the media today following the trade, so we got his thoughts. I thought he had a lot of good quotes today, so we're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about the Pelicans, who seem to have the Nuggets' number, or at least to give them fits. Are you worried about them in a playoff series? We're going to ask about that. And then Dev, eventually we'll get here, and we'll share some money. He'll make up for being a couple minutes late by making us all some money tonight. Can't wait. But first, game notes. Tonight, the Nuggets are in New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Fans are in attendance. I know because a lot of people have hit me up saying, hey, I'm at the game tonight. Can't wait for it. What do we need to know about this game tonight?
Well, personally, I've thought zero about this game.
That's so true, man.
Even on Michael Malone's pregame call, he was getting peppered with questions about Aaron Gordon, JaVale McGee, Gary Harris, and then he signs off and goes, yeah, by the way, we're playing the Pelicans tonight. We'll talk about that post-game, I guess.
Zero questions about the Pelicans. Yeah. Zero questions.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's what happens when you play a game around the trade deadline and you make a major trade like the Nuggets do.
So everybody, ourselves sort of included, are overlooking this game because I'm with you. Right. I haven't really thought about it. I'm now turning my attention to it. But the Nuggets, do you feel like this is a bit of a trap game for them with the excitement around Aaron Gordon? Is he even I think he's in Denver.
He flew to Denver with Tim Connelly.
Right, that's right.
This afternoon. Yeah. You might have been on that flight. I don't know.
We don't know. I don't want to share my secrets.
But yeah, Aaron Gordon and I think JaVale are both getting to Denver this afternoon or already in Denver.
So it is interesting because usually when a big trade happens like this, you go, well, Nuggets are shorthanded. They're actually not. They have everybody that would have been in their rotation anyway. Oh, look at this. Is he ready? Oh, my God. You know what? You made up for it by showing up with this adorable shirt.
That's why you're late. You had to dig that sweater out of your closet.
Nuggets are not shorthanded, and neither are you guys.
Neither are we. Absolutely correct. Hey, it's good to see you, man. Good to see you on the show.
It's good to see you on the show.
So, is this a trap game, Dev? I'll start you off, Ref. Is this a trap game? Because pregame, nobody even asked Michael Malone about the Pelicans. There's all these distractions.
I think it's a trap game. I think it's just like a game they don't care about because they know what's underway and they know that there's going to be a lot of changes. So this is a game that I think that people know they're not going to be getting a lot more minutes after this. So they're just going to go out there and do whatever.
It's kind of a shame that Aaron Gordon couldn't play tonight. For this very reason, not just because it'd be fun, but because the matchup between Paul Millsap and Zion Williamson is among the most lopsided athletic head-to-head matchups you can possibly put together as starting caliber players. And the Pelicans represent one of the reasons Denver felt, I believe, that they had to go out and get Aaron Gordon was for that athleticism, that versatility. And so I would have loved, this would have been a great first game to say, all right, we got some athletes too. Let's see what happens. Instead, I think you have to be concerned about Denver just got blown out because a team went small with OG Anunoby. At least in part, I think this is why. Yeah. And now you go up against a team that stays big but stays super athletic in Zion. So it concerns me. This is a game where I look at it and I go, man, Denver, this is going to be a tough win to try to come out of.
Yeah, and the idea is that Gordon came over to, defend those type of guys. That is the actual situation of why he's over for the LeBrons, for the Kawhis, matchup with Paul George, and things like that. And this is a good test because Zion, he's a lot for anybody. Yeah. That's just a tough guard. Aggressive, gets to the rim, and it's okay, let's see how you are. Let's see how you really are. I think with Aaron Gordon, a lot of fans and also just people are going to see how good of a basketball player he really is. I don't think that people notice it. I think that when you're on a team like the Magic or just a team that's not really relevant, you don't see all of those positive parts. So you're like, there's going to be a lot of times they're like, I didn't even know he could do that.
Right.
When Malone was talking pregame about Aaron Gordon, his defensive versatility, he said, when you look around the landscape of the West and the players you're going up against, you need a guy like Aaron Gordon. And I'm sure part of him was just thinking about tonight's game.
Yeah, so funny. You're probably right as they're going through the game plan, like, oh my God. Malone, in his presser today about the game, we're going to talk about Tim Connelly next, but Malone, because he was asked about Aaron Gordon, obviously, almost exclusively, you could tell he really is excited about him. And he said every team needs a guy like that, meaning everybody needs a defender like this. I think he said something like this team sorely was lacking that or what have you. I think Malone, we get on him for, he's starting Millsap, he's starting this, you should go small, should go big. I think even Michael Malone knows all that. He maybe disagrees with us, but I think he looks at it and just says, guys, what do you want me to do? Yeah. We either get mismatched because Paul's too slow or we get a mismatch because Barton's too little. Like, what do you guys want to do? And I feel like his presser today was very much him saying, guys, I get it too.
Yeah. He was also, he has been a little uptight, I think, especially leading up to the trade deadline. I felt like pregame today, and I wouldn't be surprised if just the fact that they've got Aaron Gordon on the way, and also JaVale McGee, who I'm sure Michael Malone's also really excited to have for his rim protection.
Yep.
Maybe he's a little more at ease now that he knows those guys are coming.
I think so. Are there any notes on starting lineups or anything like that? I'm assuming same starters.
I'm assuming the same for Denver.
I think Denver's 4-3 with the starting lineup over the stretch. They have other games under their belt early, but if we just talk about it, this will be the 8th game. 4-3, 5-3. It's a good stretch. 4-4, it's a bad stretch. So this is a really we'll tip the scales. Let's get in now to the Tim Connelly press conference, though. This is what everybody wants to hear about. Before I get there, I watched the show. I saw the enthusiasm. I saw the excitement. I saw the newness. 24 hours later, I'll start with you, Harrison. How do you feel about the Aaron Gordon trade now that you maybe have more clear eyes now 24 hours later?
I feel the same way I felt about it yesterday, man.
Pragmatic win.
It's a home run. It's an absolute home run. It's a great move, and the package that Denver gave up to get him, I feel like is a fair package. And we had Matt Moore on the show after you the other day. We had to push you aside to get to Matt Moore pretty quickly.
Very, very unfortunate.
He said that people around the league are saying the Nuggets got Aaron Gordon for this, for Gary Harris, who's been hurt the whole year, for RJ Hampton, who, yes, he has upside, but he's about as raw of a rookie as they come, and a first-round pick that's going to be a late first-rounder. They got Aaron Gordon for this?
Gary Harris and a first is a trade. Don't take anything back. Just Gary Harris, and you attach a first to get rid of Gary Harris's contract. Forget the emotional aspect of him in the locker room. That's what it would have cost. So really, this was Aaron Gordon for RJ Hampton, and that's like a crazy deal given that RJ Hampton is unproven. Yeah. Dev, how do you feel?
I couldn't even hide my excitement when it was just a rumor. So I know that that it actually happened. It's like, how did they pull that off? How did they get to that part of letting Gary Harris go, like that contract? It's not the actual part of Gary Harris who has been, injured and wants a bigger opportunity, but also how they got off of that contract. And like you said, it was really the RJ Hampton. That's really what it was that really put it over. That's what they wanted, was RJ Hampton. So if you could get a player that's really good, that is a great fit, and you don't give up much, that's a win-win. It was really an A+ type of trade.
What stood out to you the most today from Tim Connelly's press conference?
Man, I'm just so impressed anytime I talk to Tim and he talks in these types of settings. For the person he is, his vision, how he's built and constructed and managed this team. And you could tell today that it totally crushed him to trade Gary Harris, even though they have been trying to trade him for a while. When you actually had to make the final decision to trade Gary Harris, it crushed him. And I thought it was some great insight into how Tim Connelly just views players as more than just assets, which you can't say for all GMs in this league.
In fact, if you had to criticize him, you'd say maybe too much so.
Yeah.
Too emotionally attached to the guy.
But I also think it's what makes Tim who he is.
Agreed.
And a reason why the Nuggets have such a great culture.
I agree.
So that was a big takeaway, but also on top of that, just how he's built this team, the step-by-step process, not skipping steps, and now the Nuggets are to a point, and I think this is largely because how Tim Connelly has managed everything, where he's going to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and asking them, hey, should I go trade for Aaron Gordon? Should I bring in JaVale McGee?
Right.
And if he doesn't get buy-in from those guys, he just said this 30 minutes ago, if he doesn't get buy-in from those guys, he's not going to pull the trigger, because if there's not that buy-in, it's not going to work out. And he had this great quote where he said, this team is about the guys in the locker room. It's their team.
Right.
I thought it was just
like he's working for them.
Yeah, I thought it was just such a great symbolic line about how Tim's just built this team and just kind of managed everything for the last several years.
Tim has told us, and I know there's a little bit, he's being a little cavalier here, but he has sort of in some form or fashion said that, like, I have the best job, being a GM, this or that, it's great. But if I get fired from this job for whatever reason, I'm going to be in basketball. I'm going to go back to scouting. I love the game. I get to do scouting, this or that. And I think he likes his job. He doesn't want to be fired. But I think for him, he knows that the worst case scenario for him is pretty good. Like, he is a count his blessings kind of guy where he's like, what do I have to be nervous for? I got this gig, and if it doesn't work out, I'm going to land on my feet. And he's made some money along the way. But I do like that mentality. Were you surprised? It's a two-way street, Dev, saying to consult players. Because on the one hand, it takes a GM or president of basketball operations willing to say, hey, I have an opinion, but I need these guys' opinion as well. It takes that, but it also takes players capable of doing that. You don't do that to a scrub team. Nobody was going to Aaron Gordon. I didn't mean to slander Aaron Gordon, but I'm saying nobody was going to a guy that wasn't an MVP candidate or a Jamal Murray type player and saying, hey, do you agree with this move? But that's where Jamal Murray and Jokic have elevated themselves to.
It's funny that you asked that. Like, did that stand out to me? Because I just watch all of the pressers, and I don't ever ask a question. Today I felt like I was compelled to ask a question. Yeah. I had no choice because that stuck out to me. He said he asked Jamal Murray, he asked Nikola Jokic, like, what their actual feel was for Aaron Gordon. And I raised my hand immediately when he said that, because I wanted him to go back to that. I was like, there's no way you can't go back to that. I want to know what was said, and also what is the conversation on the other hand? What are you saying to Aaron Gordon? Because he openly, and this is maybe the first time that he actually said it, this is Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic's team. I hadn't heard that before, and now you have another guy that you're bringing in, and you still have Michael Porter Jr., who we know is a big part of their future. So I was like, okay, what is the question? So my question was about buy-in. What kind of conversations are you having with Aaron Gordon? And he actually was very open. He said that he had some very honest conversations with Aaron Gordon, where my assumption from that is that Aaron Gordon knows what where he's at. He knows he's not the guy. You have to come in and fit in, or this is not going to work out. If you want to be the best Aaron Gordon, you have to be behind these two guys and learn how to fit in with them. And that's what he did with Michael Porter Jr. Everybody's idea was Michael Porter Jr. is this super talented player that everyone else is trying to build around. No. You're the guy that's coming into a new fix. You're not the guy.
Right.
You're coming in. You have to adjust your game, or you could go to that bench.
Yeah. I like it. I really wonder what those conversations were like on the plane. Because they flew in together, sat side by side. Tim Connelly said he eventually had to say, hey, I'll shut up now because I know you need some rest and some of your own time. But, we all heard the same thing. And we believe it. I mean, we heard it from multiple people. That they did their intel, they talked to people, they talked to agents, they try to get, when you're a GM or president of basketball operations, you have to sort of sleuth around. You sort of have to get as much. And their whole thing was, Aaron Gordon's about the right things from a basketball standpoint. And I think, you had this great stat win today in the group chat. Everybody says he's going to have to sacrifice to come to Denver. Oh, Gordon's going to have to sacrifice a role. He actually... Was he third or fourth most field goal attempts on the Magic this season?
Yeah. Aaron Gordon's only averaging 12 shots a game. It's the fourth most on the Magic.
On the Magic?
Yeah, on the freaking Magic.
So he deserves the fourth or maybe fifth most shots on the Nuggets, but that's not an adjustment.
Right. It's not an adjustment. And I believe it when, Tim Connelly says, Aaron Gordon just wants to win, because he's been in Orlando for 7 seasons. He's had, I think, 5 coaches. He's been to the playoffs once. He's been on a over 500 team once. the Magic have had a top 20 offense 0 times. And Aaron Gordon has been there in 7 seasons. And now he's coming into just like a freaking offensive blitzkrieg. So I totally believe that
that was a great windism. Great job, man.
I totally believe that there's going to be buy-in.
Yeah.
And he's going to slot right in behind Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. The last thing that really stood out to me, he talked about JaVale McGee, and he's known him since he was 18 years old. Obviously in Washington, he knew him, Tim Connelly. So he goes way back. This is another. Tim Connelly has guys. I mean, Will Barton was a guy, and
Will Connelly knows everybody. Actually,
he does know everybody, but there are guys he maybe knows a little bit more intimately, and JaVale's one of them. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a good thing. It's good when you have guys that you know a little bit better. They're not strangers to you, and I think that's a big thing. The last thing, though, and this is a great line, and we can move on, but he says, I wouldn't be sitting here right now without Gary Harris. Mm-hmm. And he's right. I mean, obviously, he wouldn't be sitting there without Nikola Jokic. But that 2014 draft class is why 7 years later, Tim Connelly still has a job. And Gary Harris is a big part of that and a big culture setter. And I think it's cool. You can pay lip service. There's certain things you can say, but the real realization of like Gary Harris came here as a relatively unknown, take a flyer on a guy, worked his butt off, bought into the culture, did all of those things. Never had a problem. No, but there was never any problems with Gary Harris. And because of that, Tim Connelly still has a job, and I think it's cool. I do think, and we heard this a lot too, not that Gary Harris was itching to get to Orlando, but I do think that there was an understanding that his time had run out here in Denver. The team was ready to move on, and maybe even he was ready to move on, or at least comfortable with moving on. And so, we are all, I think, feel sad for Gary, but I think Gary's fine.
Yeah. And Tim, that was an A+ presser for him, because like he was very open, he was very honest. He talked about things that that everyone wanted to hear.
Yeah.
He addressed the Gary Harris situation. He also thanked him for his time. It wasn't all the way too much. He talked about the new guys. He made sure not to leave out JaVale McGee. He talked about everything. Yep. And also, Gary Harris was a big part of this organization. His whole tenure, Tim Connelly's whole tenure, that was the Gary Harris era. And Gary has some great times. And I think it was great that he made sure that everybody remembers that, and talks about those things, and then he brings it back to himself. He got me where I'm at today, right, and the reason that I'm still here. And you have to love that type of openness.
No, that's what's beautiful about Tim Connelly. He takes zero credit. He takes absolutely zero credit. And there are certain executives in this town who try to take all the credit, and it usually backfires. So they could learn something from Tim.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I see somebody in the chat says, why would he? I don't think Gary Harris wanted to leave the team. Why would he? I don't know that he wanted to leave the team as if he requested a trade or anything like that. But I do think he saw the writing on the wall of, got a contract year next year. His role on this team had continued to diminish. Yes, he had the great playoff run, and I think Denver is going to miss what he could do in certain matchups. But it just... he keeps moving down the pecking order. Every year it's another. And with Michael Porter Jr. in, it just keeps moving down. And I think there's something to, this is a good opportunity for him to get to a place where he's going to be able to play, and he's going to be able to maybe rehab some of his value ahead of what will be his third contract in the NBA, and that's important for him.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he was opposed to a change of scenery.
I don't think that's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. And I mean, good for him. He deserves a shot to play for sure. And I always think back to when Gary Harris was in trade rumors, and then the next day flew to Atlanta to help recruit Paul Millsap to the Nuggets in 2017. I mean, the guy's done everything that the organization has asked of him. Man. So
from OG,
true Nugget.
From OG to AG. That's a good little headline there. Moving it on now, the Pelicans, guys. Nuggets struggle with the Pelicans. There was a dream of the Nuggets maybe going after Lonzo Ball and then creating the greatest five-man starting lineup the NBA had ever seen. Never really realistic. Of course, Pels decided to keep him. Yeah. But they have been a tough matchup for the Nuggets, over the last, really since Zion arrived and when he's been playing. Do you worry? They're right now the 12 seed. So they would have to climb to, I don't think Denver's going to be the 1 seed, guys. I don't even really think they're going to be a 2, maybe, but they would have to climb really high to get here. But if Denver and the Pelicans did match up in a playoff series, is that one that you look at and go, that's a team that's definitively worse than Denver, but that Denver just doesn't match up well with?
I'd be a little worried. I still think Denver would handily win the series, but you worry about the matchups for sure. And look, maybe Aaron Gordon changes this whole dynamic completely.
Yeah.
But we won't know that tonight. But I would still think going into that series that the Nuggets playoff experience would really help them in a series like that. The Pelicans, like, none of those guys have really ever played in the playoffs. Steven Adams, like, yeah, but Zion, Lonzo, not really.
Yeah.
I think Denver's experience in those situations would help, but I'd be a little nervous for sure.
I would certainly be nervous. And also, it's not even just scary for right now, it's scary for down the road, because like any experience that they're getting in the playoffs is going to be scary, because when they finally click and when they get it together, that is not going to be nice. Like if Zion finds a way to just really dominate in the playoffs also and take his game to the next level, that's going to be like rough. And then also for the Nuggets, they just really can't match up with a team that athletic every single night. You have to be on your A game. I think that the Nuggets do pull it out, but I don't think it's coming as easy as everyone else would think. And also, they would have to they would actually have to keep their game up and play really hard against them. But the experience wins.
Yeah. I think your point is right. This year, no, it'd be their first trip to the playoffs. You know, these guys have never been schemed. We saw Michael Porter really learn this lesson last year, and I think it changed everything for him, where he's like, I'm really good, until a team spends all of their energy exploiting your weakness, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, I got more to learn. And I think that's what's going to happen to Zion, Lonzo, Ingram, Hart. All those guys will get in and be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was scouted this much in a playoffs, and all of a sudden now all these things I don't like to do. So I do think this year Denver could lose to the Pelicans tonight every time they play them, but in a playoff series, I would still like them and their experience. But I do think down the line, we start to look at Denver trying to build something here for years and years to come. Pelicans, I think, right there with the Mavericks as one of those teams you look at and say, man, they might be the team Denver's vying in that Western Conference for. And Zion alone Zion versus Jokic is the funniest mismatch, two-way mismatch that you could possibly put together.
It's a series that you would love to see if you're a Nuggets fan and hate to see at the same time.
For sure.
But I mean, the good thing is, I guess, the Pelicans, I don't think are going to make the playoffs this year.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They could, but I don't think so either. Staying put. We'll see how the vibes are with the team. They have a vibe check tonight as well. Lonzo, I thought he was gone. A lot of people thought he was gone. He probably thought he was gone.
Yeah.
He's there. There's probably a little bit of that. All right, now I know I'm here for the next 2 months at least. Clear mind. I don't have that hanging over you. Right. So they probably have some energy tonight.
Yeah, good point.
Dev, you were late to the show tonight. You got to make up for it, man. The people in the chat are upset.
You know what?
They're almost as upset as I am, but willing to forgive you if you can make me some money and we open up the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Of course, use promo code DNVR. Man, I got to say, I was in Florida. I couldn't open the app.
That's the worst.
Oh, it was the worst. I was sitting watching the show. I can't remember what it was, you guys. I think it was like a Murray poison. So I was so ready, and I hit the submit. And they're like, "You are not legal."
Yeah.
I was like, "You got to be kidding me!"
All
right, let's
when you
money.
Can't bet on vacation, it kills the vibe.
Oh, it kills the vibe. I almost phoned in Kale. I was like, "Kale, I need you to put 20 on this or something."
That's hilarious. So let's just look at the line off rip. It's -2.5. It was -3 earlier.
Ooh.
So there has to be some money that's coming in for the Pelicans.
The Pelicans.
Just thinking that they're in. This is a game that is really tough. Like, just to know what, like you said, Lonzo and his team, like, they might be more relaxed because they have guys that, like, actually got through the line that thought that they were going to be out.
Will Barton might be more relaxed.
Maybe it's a relaxed game. Yep. Will Barton comes in.
Will Barton, I think, was a guy who was definitely could have been traded yesterday.
And he probably thought he would be.
Right.
So I'm going to stay away from the line. Do you guys have anything on the line that you guys would do?
I would stay away from it also. I'm staying away.
Kind of like the Pelicans.
Yeah.
I'm not betting on that.
I'm staying away for sure.
I'm staying away.
So, and then we go to points. One of the points that stands out quickly for me, and it has to go to knowing he's going to get more minutes. Michael Porter Jr. is at 17.5 points. That's got to be the highest he's had. Like,
that is a lot, man.
17.5.
They play a little fast. They're bad defensively.
Yeah, I don't really like that. I'm not going to tell you guys to bet against it. I don't like that, but that is one that stands out.
We don't bet unders, Nuggets unders here, bro.
Yeah,
we don't do that
here. It's actually
legal.
legal.
You can't do that.
It's banned.
Zion Williamson, 27.5. I thought that there was no way that he would get that last game. He got that last game.
You got it, huh?
Just gets to his point. He's just super aggressive. He's in, like, they making sure that he's playing more minutes. Lock that in.
I did see Paul Millsap's getting the start tonight.
Getting the start tonight.
27.5. because he's going to get his points.
I'm not betting on that
and
either.
then calm down.
That's a lot of points.
Give me something to get excited for here, Dev.
Do you want the lock of the day?
Oh, I want the lock. If it's a good lock. If it's a good lock.
The lock of the day is Jokic over points, rebounds, and assists.
This is always your lock.
It's such an easy lock. It never loses.
I'm putting a unit on it. 44 and a half.
That's such an easy lock. You could put in third quarter woes. You might as well just lock that in.
Okay.
You get that in early.
This game will be go down to the wire, I think. So
get it.
Minutes.
But my lock of the day is Jokic, 44 and a half.
All right. Nothing else. It's always your lock. I do love how it always is so simple. This game is so simple for you, Dev.
It hits, though.
It hits. It does hit.
If you want to make money, you get the one that hits.
You do get the one that hits.
Eric always is going to go with the double-double. Just hurry up and get that in, and then you could go with something else.
Eric Weedham is in the house, and he is watching from afar here. So even though you're not on the show, I'm going to ask you, Michael Porter Jr., do you like 17 and a half points, or do you like 2.5 threes? His threes. You know what? Put the unit on.
Stay away from Jamal. This could be an emotional game for him.
Yes.
Oh, what a tribute game, maybe?
He can have an emotional
What is he going to do?
You think an emotional hold and score 50, score 14 points? Oh, no, you're right.
Maybe he doesn't try to score, and he's just pouting the entire time.
Oh, dude, we are setting some. This is terrible vibes, you guys. I don't like these vibes.
That's going to happen. That could happen.
All right, Will Barton, 15 and a half points. I could see him having a little bit of a relaxed game. You know, I could see it a little bit.
Rad super chat from our friend Kaylee real quick.
Can somebody read this? Guys, I'm flying to Denver for the game on Tuesday. Woo! I won frontline worker ticket. Oh, hell yeah, Haley. So I will stop by the bar afterwards. Hope to meet you all. You absolutely will. We will be here.
Hell yeah.
Can't wait for that one. Haley Keel. Can't wait. Do we have any better do we have any fun locks here? Can I do like a I need like a little bit better vibes. Eric, do you have a good vibes one? That's the good vibes. So we're all in on Michael Porter Jr. threes tonight. That's the vibes. All right.
If you want a better lock, we could put Ennis plus money.
Oh.
Jokic over 10 and a half rebounds.
I do like that one, actually. Steven Adams. Remember Steven Adams was rebounding the last game? It's going to be a point of emphasis. You know what? I like this. I like this one. You got to go out there and get those boards. You can't get beat on the boards tonight. Jokic, 10 and a half. I'll take a unit on it.
Double. 200. That's it?
Those aren't very good odds. I don't like that one.
Bro,
I don't like that one. All right, guys. Thanks so much. After the game, though, we're going to be right back here in the vibe or in the lounge.
In the vibe lounge.
Hopefully, we're back in the vibe. I'm telling you guys.
That would be such
I'm ready. I'm ready for a vibe.
No wins, no losses, just vibes.
Guys, winners lounges are great. Friday night winners lounges.
Man.
Best of all time. I hope we get one tonight. Immaculate. We'll see you guys. Thanks for tuning in.